Hi, everyone. Hi, Sandra.
Hi. That's
Oh, you can
Sandy.
see how many people are waiting. That's interesting. Hi, Wendy.
Oh, I don't
I
see
didn't know
that.
that.
Oh, I see there are
No,
8
I see
others waiting
Sandra
too.
says that, but I didn't know that you
Oh,
could do that. That people could see that.
weird.
Hi,
Hi.
everyone.
12 people. Hi, Teresa. I just saw you. I'm glad you're here.
Hi, Teresa. How's everyone doing? How'd your homework go? Remind them
Hello.
what the homework
Hi,
was.
Susan. Hi, Dana.
Well, the homework was picking colors.
It was picking your color palettes.
And you can come on Thursday to our live Zoom call where it's a lot easier to share so that we can see
Yes, I hope you guys
your
do.
palettes and today we're going to talk about fonts and um, it will be really cool to get some feedback and for us just to see what you've been working on.
Yep, it'll be so cool.
What colors do you have, Wendy? Like while we're waiting for someone to type, it's just dead silence.
I know. Sorry, I was pulling up our slideshow for today. I also found that other author that we were looking at yesterday, Sherilyn McQueen.
Kenyon.
Yeah. She says McQueen on her thing. She must have 2.
Oh, that's weird. No, it's Sherilyn Kenyon.
Oh, it's very weird.
There's like a football game or something at the high school football field is at the end of my street, and I can hear like I don't know. It's the wrong time of year for football, so maybe it's soccer. But I can hear the announcer.
Well, on Thursday
will be because there's never an announcer like that for the girls.
Yeah. The Zoom call on Thursday will be at 6 p.m. Eastern. If you have not already, you're only going to be invited to the Zoom call if you join the Author Branding Challenge. So there's a link in the description for this video to do that. So make sure that you do that so that you'll get that invite to the Thursday call. And it's at 6 p.m. Eastern. Byzantium, a Palatinate purple and a Prussian blue. That sounds pretty, Aaliyah. I still have to see how well they blend. Good job. Hi, Margaret. Teresa fell down on the job and into bed. Tonight
Maryland's are burnt yellow, burnt orange, and bright purple.
Oh, I've seen Maryland's and hers are perfect.
Does it
when you see them,
other humor writers?
Totally does. It totally does, and it fits her perfectly. Perfect. And her little logo is so cute. Teresa fell down on the job and into bed. Tonight will be a similar. I think it will for us too.
Teresa is a cozy mystery writer, and what kind of colors are cozy mysteries supposed to have, Adrian?
Cozy mystery writers they're very like, I feel like what's weird to me is that like it's a mystery, right? So you would think it would maybe have some darker colors, but it's not because it has that cozy element, and that cozy element is often like a very location specific setting, like a small town or like a beachside town or a beach or something like that. And so I feel like they end up having some like calming colors. So like blues and maybe some yellows and things like that, which is very interesting to me. Abby has teal, burgundy, and gold.
Is Abby Parker? I want to say she's a fantasy writer, but I'm not sure. I'm second guessing myself now.
They also, when I was looking at cozy mysteries, I made a cozy mystery package or author branding package. And I think that something that I noted was that they tend to use a lot of monochromatic palettes too. Teal, burgundy, and gold. That sounds pretty. Um,
Historical.
Interesting.
I wonder if we did research on historical, if it depends on the the timeline of, like maybe Regency writers would have a different.
It might, because there's different, like, I mean, because I think that there's like Regency writers, and then there's historical. Like Regency is like its own, especially in romance. Regency is its own category.
It's it's a category, like a subgenre of historical romance.
Yeah, but like Victorian romance,
but like I would assume that Regency or Victorian, or would it be different than medieval? Would it be different than like World War II era?
Maybe.
So she is 17th century European.
Yeah.
Teresa says monochromatic for contemporary fiction. She's asking. We'd have to do the research. So you have to go look at some authors that are like your book, Teresa, and then see what colors they use on their websites.
Yeah. All right.
I think we're ready for the lesson.
Yep. Margie said just sort of lime green, wheat, and brick red. Very bold.
Very bold.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Margie is writing sci-fi.
She's also a really good blogger, though, too.
Very good blogger.
For her blog. Sandy wanted a Southwest feel and used a photo of her backyard, or their backyard. Our house is at the front of a mountain, very desert. I ended up with blue, silver, red, brown, and pink. Oh, I love that. Yeah, using a photo is a really good way to do that. It's a really good starting place, but I want to iterate to make sure that it fits into your field. But I feel like it does, because Sandy was the one yesterday that was talking about this.
Sandy's writing a cozy mystery
that had an urban.
It's very hard for me to call her Sandy because I've called her Sarah for so long. But she's writing a cozy mystery, and it's set in Phoenix, and it's like, it is cozy, but it's got a slightly more. What colors did she say?
She said
blue, silver. Yeah, I like that it's not like it's not like a cutesy one.
Yeah,
it's more because the crime is pretty serious. I mean, it's often murder. You hardly get much more serious, but it's like I don't know how to explain it because without giving away what the crime is, but like less like the game of Clue and more like not like the game of Clue. You know what I mean? It's not like who the maid with a candlestick. I don't know.
Yeah. I like. Yeah,
it's
I
okay. Sandra says she goes by both equally. I just like except for here, and then I'm like, well, she put Sandy. I'm gonna call her Sandy, but it's like in my brain.
Wendy said a lot of authors in the faith space use pastels and flowers to appeal to women, but the women I want as a reader like bolder colors. That's a really good observation to make. I like that, Wendy. Good job.
I feel like there are some people in that faith space that are using really bold colors too, like those same colors, only bolder. So not bold like black, white, and red bold, but like stronger versions of those pastel colors maybe would be really good.
Yeah.
So it would still show you as part of that space without but also different.
Yeah, that's a really good observation that you made though, Wendy.
I hope you can screen share. We're not even using the same bandwidth today.
Yeah, no, I can. Okay. Margie came up with a wonky urban fantasy with a touch of the Irish and Hebrides Islands. That sounds fun. Carol needs help. She likes too many things. I do have a niche. I think I write romance with mystery in small towns. That's a niche.
Yeah, Carol says, so this is interesting. Carol says, I like fall colors, reds, gold and black. So this is not this is hard to separate, but it's not about the colors you like. As you observed if you watched yesterday, and I was like, do I have to have that icky color? Because it's not my thing. I like bright colors and uh like
It's what's
juicy
going to
bright
appeal to
colors,
your
and like,
audience.
yeah, no, it's not even what's going to appeal to them, because you know, I
They might not,
probably have readers that like juicy bright colors too. It's what is going to telegraph to that reader that you have written something that they want to read. And so it has to, it's about what the genre, like what fits into the genre. And then once you know that, it's okay, Katie, welcome. It's once you know what that is, then you can play around with it a little, like we were just talking about with Wendy. Like, she knows that people in that face space, what I think of, I'm thinking of like the Hope Writers colors, which are very beige, like very
but then they have that teal color
but
that's
it's
dark.
soft. It's a soft teal and beige and peach, and it's like a very understated. And so Wendy could say, okay, that's the colors that are in these faith-based spaces, but I'm going to use like a bolder teal and a or a peach that's like closer to orange, and you know, so it's the same but stronger, or so that people will see it and still say, like, this is our writing space, like this is my, like, probably going to be something similar to what I want, but maybe a little more exciting.
Yeah. Oh, Laura tried to enroll in the branding course, but I don't see where to go when the guild landing page opens. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page, there should be a button to purchase. You can send me an email too. I'm going to put my email in the chat here, Laura, and I will help you.
Today is the last day to sign up for the branding course, except like if you're in the branding challenge, just like, spoiler alert, you're likely going to get, you are going to get another chance another chance a little bit later, in a few days. So like, you know, after our live Zoom, you'll, so, but you have to be part of that challenge to be able to get in later, and being part of the challenge is free.
Yeah, Laura, send me an email and I will I'll make sure that you get in. I'll help you. Okay. I think the Dana said the few authors I have looked at seem to change their website colors to go with their new book. And I'm wondering if they change all their colors. Like, here, I'm going to screen share because somebody we were looking at.
That would have been Gina Showalter.
Yeah,
although I was looking at some of her books yesterday. And some of her, she just is a little more frou-frou.
Yeah.
Like, if you go
she might not fit you.
Covers, like her covers, the pictures fit in, but her, like, see how her name is in that one with the word warrior? Like, it's got that little extra on the font for her name. So she's just, and like, look at the one for Dark Taste of Rapture. It's got the little swirly R's and stuff. Like, she's just on a little extra, but it fits in. But this is like kind of like what we were saying about Wendy, like she wants to, like, it looks to me like she wants to fit into this paranormal romance, but also show that, like, she's got a girlier edge rather than a darker edge, right? Like, I wouldn't expect her books to be as dark as, say, if you go to J.R. Ward's, which was like black.
Yeah. What I wanted to show Dana, though,
just for the record, J.R. Ward's books are very, very dark, and Gina Showalter's are probably not quite as dark. It's been a long time since
like a fairy tale edge here, right?
Yeah,
like,
so I think that's like her, but it fits in. Like, if you go to J.R. Ward's, Adrian, you'll see it's like they don't look like they're totally not the same. It just looks like one is darker than the other. J.R. Ward. So she's still got that little bit of purple.
That's reddish.
No, not there. On that first picture, there was purple on the end.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go down though, like it's dark. Like her covers are darker. She doesn't have that little swirl.
So for terms of your brand, though, I want to point out that you're not looking at the covers or at like these background pictures. You're looking at like this up here and this and, you know, this area, right? So her brand colors are black, white, and this
dark red,
burnt
brick red.
Yeah, not these colors. Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah. And she chose those colors so that when she has these colors in her pictures, they can stand out and they're not going to look like clashy, right?
Well, then to me, this looks not dissimilar that much from Gina Showalter's. A little darker. Gina Showalter's purple is a little brighter, but it's still like a deep color, a dark color, and a white. You know, purple is a relatively deep color regardless. And
and it's deep because the imagery that they have on their covers is this more like glowy, and it needs to stand out.
Right.
But anyways, I wanted to go back to Gina Showalter because Dana said something in the chat about that her authors that she looked at seemed to change their website with their books. And I wanted to just point out, so this Gina Showalter seems like she's somebody that maybe does that too, because these little glass flowers, and it just seems to match, right? What you're going to look at though, like I highly doubt that she's going to change the navy in her logo, or
I wonder if she added those butterflies.
Yeah. Or this dark purple, or the font color, right? Like she used the dark navy as her font color here, right? Those little elements are her brand colors. So just try to overlook this, this baby blue here. Just try to overlook all the other pictures. And I know it's hard, but you're looking for these background colors here. So hopefully that helped there. Did she say anything else in there? My green is for the northern lights that are common in my region during cold nights. Cool, Margie. Okay. I think. Yeah, so Abby also noticed authors matching their sites to their book covers too. Just try to look past that. There's going to be some elements like the font color, the colors in their logos. They're probably not going to change all that much. Like the foundational colors are I would be very surprised if they completely like had a brand new website every time they had a new book. If they do, you might be looking at somebody who is a little too mainstream for this project, and you might want to like look at other authors. But I still doubt even those like mainstream people like Nicholas Sparks. Nicholas Sparks is I'm going to share Nicholas Sparks' website. He's a really good example of somebody who does that. I'm going to do this really quick and then go to Nicholas Sparks. Back to this. NicholasSparks.com, right? This is obviously for his book, right? So his website does change, but things like this right here, the color of the buttons and these colors underneath, like those are not going to change. Those are going to stay the same. Those are his website colors. He's just got this huge image that makes it feel like he's got a brand new website every time he goes, but he doesn't. So you're looking for those foundational colors that are going to stay the same. And I'm sure that they have them. I would be surprised if they don't. If they don't, I think, you can bring them to the Thursday call and I will tell you if you're not sure. Okay. I think we're ready Marilyn says Alice Hoffman's also does that. Yeah, you're trying to look beyond that. Okay. All right. Okay, I think we're ready. We're going to go ahead and start today's. Listen. Okay, I can't see the chat, so I need you to look at it for me.
I will.
Okay, so Canva for writers. Oh, this is not supposed to say Canva for writers. Sorry, guys. I think maybe I have the wrong one. No, I just forgot to change it out. So I developed this during a class that I taught in the guild called Canva for Writers. And I updated the information, but I forgot to update that little part up there. So that is why it says Canva for Writers. Sorry, guys. This is what happens when we have tons of stuff launching this week. It's exciting, but a little crazy.
Nerve-wracking.
Yeah. Okay, so introduction. Writers spend a lot of time reading written words. If we were to think of writing like we do painting, writing is our craft and the paper is our canvas and the font is our paint. Fonts hold a lot of psychological weight, just like colors do, that we don't often think about. So, like colors, when we see certain types of fonts, our subconscious reaches to make assumptions about the personality of the brand or product or story, etc., that we're being told. There are bolder fonts and classic fonts, dramatic fonts, playful fonts. Go away. Calming fonts and everything in between. Choosing the right fonts for your author brand can really help to communicate to the reader what your brand is all about. In this lesson, I'll introduce you to the 6 main font categories and their personality traits in hopes that it will help you pick the perfect font or fonts for your brand. So the best brand fonts are unique and memorable. So like your brand colors, when you see your brand fonts out in the world, you should think about your brand. Like you should be able, hopefully after this call, you'll be able to like go and look at these author websites or when you're reading a book or whatever and point at a font and say, hey, that's a sans serif or whatever. And you know, we're going to talk about later in this lesson about the different personalities that are tied to different types of fonts and you'll be able to like make those connections for like that's why they chose this font in this book because it makes you feel it gives you that traditional feeling or that comforting feeling or whatever. So it should be so like our brand colors, when you see your brand fonts out in the world, you should think about your brand. Legible / readable. If your reader can't read your font, you've got a big problem. Legibility is where fonts differ from paint in our analogy of writing versus painting. Illegible paintings are abstract. Abstract fonts and writing and branding are frowned upon due to their illegibility. Accessible on every platform. Just make sure that your fonts look good on web and in mobile and in print and all of that stuff. And then it communicates your brand personality. When you look at your fonts, do they feel happy, sad, dramatic, calming, minimal, artistic, creative? What's in a font palette? A font palette usually contains 2 to 3 different fonts that you'll use for headers, body text, and subtitles. If you choose to have 3, you'll definitely have at least 2. Sometimes people only have 3 fonts in their font palette. This happens to be Ninja Writer's font palette, but the header font is Livello, so very, very clear to read, right? That's what you want for your header font. And we've got this subhead font that's, just used as like an accent. It's still clear to read, but like, it might lean a little bit sometimes on harder to read, but it looks pretty and it's still pretty readable. And then a body font, which obviously should be very simple, very clean, and very usually I feel like they just should be your most readable font needs to be your body font for obvious reasons. So your header font, important to note too, is usually what you're going to end up using in your logo most of the time. Not all the time though, but your logo, like your headings, things where it's really important that people can read and like read what you're telling them and understand, you know, and like it's very, very clear. It's not legible.
The readability is super important, I think.
For the
And we just
font.
ran into this because I have a book that is up for pre-order right now.
Yeah.
And when we were working on the cover, like we had one word in the Moontime there, and the A in Moontime font is awful. It looks like a D. It's got a real long, tall, like flippy thing at the top, and like there was I needed the word streams to, it was in that Moontime and it looked like streets, and I was like, it's not good. And we had to you know, Marilyn, the link to this is in your is both in, I think this is the same slideshow from as Canva for Writers, right? So it's probably in there and also in your email. Did this get emailed out today? Yeah, so you have it in your email, Marilyn. If you signed up for the class.
Yeah, check your promotions in your spam folder too, because sometimes those emails get lost in there. Yeah, so it's if you're going to use a like cursive font, you need to make it like your subhead font, because it needs to be like an accent font and not something that is like where you're putting information there that's dire for your reader to be able to read. Because sometimes you'll run into that issue where in some, you know, forms, it's just, you can't, it doesn't work. Okay, so what is your brand personality? So, this is a really quick slide, but if you join the Author Branding Challenge, which the link is in the description in the video and or on YouTube, and it's free. You'll get a download of this document, and it has you can look, there's, this list of brand personality traits. You probably already did something similar to this, with yesterday's assignment with the colors. So if you have those on hand, that's a great start too. But here's some more personality traits for you to choose from. Also remember that when you choose them, it's a starting place. And what really matters is that, what you're looking at, when you're looking at the author websites, and but you can start making notes. Like if you know that, like we're going to get into here, this next slide, which is going to get into the different personality traits of different types of fonts. If you look at romance and they're all using a serif font as their header font, like serif fonts are very traditional. Romance writing is often, can be like it should be very comforting and very traditional and all of that, and it has the same kind of feelings there.
Carol wants to know if you're talking about the personality traits of the author or the book, and I told her I thought you meant the genre.
The genre and the genre. You're trying to fit into your niche. So the personality traits of your niche and your brand. Okay. So there are 6 main font categories. There's serif, sans serif, slab serif, script, handwritten, and decorative. Serif fonts are classic and trustworthy and traditional due to its status as the oldest font style. It originated in the 15th century. When we see serif fonts, we get a classic and traditional feel from them. This also leads to feelings of trustworthiness. So a main identifier of a serif font is that it has feet. So right here, these little feet. Serif means feet, and usually have them on the bottom and top of most of the letters. So obviously, the E's don't have it, but common serif fonts are Times New Roman and Laura. And these are some examples of brands that use a serif font, and these are. What's interesting to me as we go through these slides, I do this for all of them, list some examples of brands that use this type of font. And what's interesting is you'll be able to, you can start to see like how similar these brands are. Like these are all pretty traditional, Time Magazine, Tiffany, and
they're like elegant,
and
not
very
timeless, but
I think they're timeless and like classy.
Classic.
Yeah, classic. And they all use the serif font as their
that
font.
is interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Sans serif fonts are new and modern and clean and minimal, due to its status as the new kid on the block, even though it's not actually new. It originated in the 19th century with a splash. When we see sans serif fonts, we get a new and modern feeling from them. And it's what's interesting to me about this like psychology behind it is that like the obviously none of us were around when sans serif became a popular thing. And it's like something we see all the time now too, but it's totally true when you are looking like a page full of serif text versus a page full of sans serif text. Like the sans serif one definitely looks more modern than the serif text does. Even though it's not it is not a new form of font. Just, the way that our brains have been programmed. So due to its lack of feet in comparison to serif fonts, it also has a cleaner look that helps portray minimalism. A main identifier is a lack of feet. Sans serif is smooth, sleek, and ledge-free. So this is an example here of obviously a serif font. You can see the feet, and sans serif without the feet. Common sans serif fonts are Arial and Helvetica.
And I always write in Courier New. Do you know if that's
Courier New? We have that on the next slide. It's slab serif.
Oh, that's my favorite one.
Yeah, but examples. So now look at this, like examples of these are brands here that use a sans serif font, and like they're pretty newer, modern companies, right? They're not new, but new at the same time
compared to Tiffany's or Time.
Exactly. Yeah, and like they're technology based, right? Like none of these are technology based.
Right.
These ones are all technology. So even though technology is not new, the internet is not new, right? It's been around for a long time.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you're considering new.
I guess, but in terms of, I don't know, it's been around for a while.
I guess it depends on your, the internet is, I don't know, the 80s or like not like for normal people, like household name. These have only been household names for 20 years or less.
Yes. But when you think of that in comparison to like how long serif has been around and it feels traditional compared to how long sans serif has been around, even though, it's not actually a new font, it's got that same sort of feeling where like it is probably for a very, very long time going to always feel new because there was a time, really not that long ago that we didn't have all internet and all that stuff. And so these brands gravitated towards the sans.
They feel modern.
Mm-hmm.
And they feel modern. It's also interesting that these are all very like everyman type things, and the other ones are very either very place dependent or just something that a certain person would.
Yeah.
Like it's a certain person who doesn't live in New York City and shops at Tiffany's or reads. I thought that was the New York Times. It's just Time Magazine, so that's more everyman. So maybe not.
Yeah. Okay. Now we have slab serif. Fonts are bold and quirky and confident. Slab serif fonts are a larger and blockier take on a traditional serif font. They tend to portray feelings of ruggedness and outdoorsy and like quirky. Their campaign is that they're traditional while still appearing current. So it's like a happy medium between a serif and a slab serif, or a serif and a sans serif. The main identifier is that they have a more stylized take on a serif font. So there are feet usually, but the font looks more artistic than a normal serif. So like Courier New, any typewriter font is a considered a slab serif usually.
Courier New is my favorite font to write in.
Yeah.
I don't know how about being quirky or outdoorsy, but I like that it's big. I can see it good.
Yeah. I feel like when I see a slab serif, you know what I think of is like, oh man, like the types of stories where like it's like people breaking into the government and like trying to like, very technology forward movies at the same time, like sleuthy technology.
It's interesting to me that these examples are particularly the car examples are like very sturdy and like very safe and like if you want to know for sure that something's going to work,
they're confident.
Yeah, that you're going to go there, like versus say buying something like a Tesla, you're going to buy a Volvo if you just want to make sure that your car is going to get you to work every day.
Yeah,
safely.
Very,
instead like a Sony is what you buy because that's also what your grandparents had in their house or whatever. These are very like stability.
Yeah.
It's interesting, which they're also like solid and bigger and like have those feet, and the feet are bigger.
Yeah.
They're stable feet.
They're bulkier and more confident, and they take up a little more space because they have that going for them. Just their selling point is that, they're stable. They're here. They will, they can do the hard work for you.
That's interesting.
Go away. Sorry, the cat is getting into stuff he should not get into. Go away. Okay. So yeah, we have Volvo, Sony, and Honda are good examples of slab serif companies that use slab serif fonts in their font palette. Script fonts are elegant and unique. Script fonts are a great option for brands that want to feel elegant and distinctive, like handwriting. Each script font feels unique. Script fonts also feel very on trend, which can be good and it can also be bad. If it's too trendy, you risk your font falling out of trend quickly. I would not worry about this so much in terms of like your author branding, because if you choose a script font, like I said, it should be just like an accent font, right? It should not be like the font that shines through the most, because it's not super legible. And but like I think in terms of being weary of like whether or not a script font is going to fall out of trend, that I think that's something you might think of more maybe when you're designing like a book cover or like designing a t-shirt. I don't know, something like that. Something that goes out of style. Beware of legibility with this font type. Usually okay with headers, but not body fonts. Do not use a script font as your body font. It's and like I would say for an author website, for something like your website, I would like, I think that for your headers, I would stay away from script too, because I think that the kind of script fonts that you can use as a header font are like few and far between. And it's just much easier on you as somebody who's picking a font for your font palette to know that you're going to have a font that is extremely readable if you just stick with a non-script font. So the main identifier is cursive lettering where most of the letters touch. If the letters are not touching at all, like if this said script and none of the letters were touching, and that's just how it is, like you didn't add the extra space in between, then it would probably be either a handwritten or a decorative font. So common script fonts are Pacifico. And some examples of companies that use script fonts are Johnson & Johnson, Instagram, and Ford. So there's not really as much of a connection here as the other ones. I think that it's, it's not very popular for brands to choose a script font as like working it, making that their logo. I think that the brands that did though are like Instagram is the newer one, but Johnson & Johnson and Ford have been around forever, right? So they can do whatever they want. They've reached the status. All three of these have reached the status where it doesn't matter.
It's interesting to me that all three of those have like a homey type feel to me. They're like especially Instagram and Johnson are both mainly appealing to women. I don't know about Ford, but Johnson & Johnson and Instagram, like their main audience, I think, is women. And I don't know what's going on with Ford. Although,
no, but I think that their goal.
Ford feels like a very
it's hometown, right?
Say something super American centric, but it's a very American brand. Like it's like Ford, Chevrolet. Those are very like apple pie baseball.
Like Ford's whole selling point is that like they're appealing to like the hometown sort of vibe. That's what I get from Ford, which I think the script font fits. As in terms of this Johnson & Johnson and like
we're not going to be fancy. This may not be fancy, but it's going to be like you don't need fancy. You need a Ford.
Like they want to be household names.
Oh, their household names is actually that's interesting.
Okay, so handwritten fonts are informal and artistic. Handwritten fonts are exactly as they sound. Fonts that look handwritten. They have a tendency to feel informal and artistic, which also makes them feel approachable and friendly. A handwritten feel. The main identifier is a handwritten feel. If it looks like it was written with a pencil or like it has brush strokes, then it's a handwritten font. Permanent marker and Patrick hand are common examples of handwritten fonts. This Tombow font here is very clearly a handwritten font. This Ray-Ban one, I think I chose it because these larger letters here are more stylized, which I think gave it an edge. Sometimes I think I was trying to point out here that like the difference between like a handwritten font and a script font can sometimes be like hard to tell, but I think a handwritten font is just going to feel more artsy than a script font. That's handwritten fonts. Handwritten fonts are another font that can oftentimes be hard to read, so you have to be careful with it. A decorative font. Decorative fonts are stylized and distinctive and dramatic. Decorative fonts are the most diverse and as far away from the traditional serif as they can get. They use unique shapes, forms, and proportions for stylized look. The main identifier is a font that incorporates shape and form. So you'll notice here that the slant on each of the letters, so it's like slightly slanted, right? Like it's got some kind of little slant to it, or just there's something is just always a little bit off about like the shape of the E. The line doesn't come quite up to the end of the E, or like things like that that would make this more of a decorative font instead of a slab serif or like a sans serif font here. Common decorative fonts are Lobster and Special Elite. So examples are Disney and Lego and IBM. So they incorporate, right? They incorporate shape into their shape.
So
and
IBM
form is important.
Oh no, never. I was gonna say IBM is a serif font, but like with lines.
Yeah. So, but it has shape. Like the shape and form is important to the logo here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like this type of font is. I mean, it's in a like it is a serif font, but these lines across it make it make it decorative.
Mm-hmm.
This right here is a you know sans serif or slab serif or whatever font.
Well,
Italicized.
there's no feet on Lego.
I was saying I
Oh,
meant
sans
sans
serif.
serif.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, but like, I don't think I've ever seen the Lego symbol without like these lines around it.
Yeah.
Right? That makes it all encompassing and incorporates form into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so just a recap. Serif is classic, a sans serif is modern, slab serif is bold. A script often has like an elegant feel to it or like a also kind of unique, but yes. And a handwritten is informal and descriptive is dramatic. So here's a breakdown of Ninja Writer's font palette. We have a sans serif header, a script font as our like secondary font, and our body font is a sans serif. Okay, so serif. So these are some font combinations, and I made sure to include the names here when I was pairing them so you could see. These are all like font names that are on their fonts on Canva. So if some of them speak out to you and you know that your niche, they tend to choose a serif and a sans serif, you're welcome to use.
Wendy asked, "How do you know what attracts your readers?" And that's what I told her, that you have to use what you have to go look at what other people in your other writers in your niche are using. Because again, this is not about what appeals to you or even what might appeal to one single reader. Like a reader might say, like if someone asked me as a person, what kind of colors do you like? I would say, or fonts do you like? I would say, well, I like those kind of typewritery slab serif fonts. I like that because I like them because they're bigger, they're bolder, I can see them well, I think they're pretty, I just like them. But as a reader, and this is something that's probably self-conscious, right? Like or subconscious, I wouldn't necessarily be able to tell you why, but like I know I can look at the like a book's cover or a website or a logo or whatever and be able to tell whether or not this book is going to be in my genre, right? Like I'm going to know a romance. Like let's say if I wanted to read a cozy mystery, I would be able to see a book's cover and the fonts that they're using and the colors that they're using for the cover and be able to say, oh, I bet that is a cozy mystery. And if I was someone who only reads cozy mystery and I only want to read cozy mystery, it doesn't matter that what I like is bright juicy colors and big bold fonts. If my genre, most of the authors in my genre are using pastel colors and swirly fonts, then that's what a writer has to use so that I know it's not about appealing to what I like. It's about telling me that your book is the kind of book I want to read.
Yeah. So so Carol says, how do you know what attracts it? And yeah, it's by looking at finding those examples of authors in your niche who are successful, right? And they're successful because they caught on to things like, I mean, they caught, because their stories are good and stuff, but they're consistent with their publishing and their content, but also because they figured out how to dress themselves like the other authors in your niche who are successful. Okay, so some font combinations here. A serif and a sans serif font combination. Serif and sans serif work well together due to their contrasting elements. The sans serif quiets the harshness of the serif when paired together, which is good for a modern and trustworthy feel. And this is, if you do romance, most romance author websites, I think you'll notice that they use this serif and sans serif combination, which I find very interesting because, like I said, it's the header font is that like traditional and comforting feel that I think that romance readers are looking for, right? It's that knowledge that, man, I'm going to pick up this book and I know exactly what I'm getting into. And then the sans serif that's like, like maybe we can ease them into a little bit of difference there, a little bit of change, but not too much. So it makes sense when you're looking at it, and it's super interesting. A single sans serif with a variety of weight options, so you can always keep it simple by only choosing one font. The key to this is choosing one that has a variety of weight options. So like Arial Black, Arial Rounded, Arial Narrow. This will make for a sleek and professional look. I think it is like for your body fonts and things like that, like your more boring font choices. It can be good to pay attention to whether or not you're choosing a font that has lots of like a variety of options of like weights and things like that. Because it gives you just a little, some different things to play with. So that's something to pay attention to. So thick rounded sans serif for youthful appearance. If you're producing a product targeted towards kids, you may consider a thick rounded sans serif to produce a childlike feeling. Yeah.
Marilyn says that the email that came out today had the link to this call, but it did not have the slideshow in it as a attachment.
Okay, I will send it out again after this call. Sorry about that. Thin.
So Alea wants to know, what should I use for a mature feel to complement a serif tone or font? The one that was provided to me was Senzel Decorative. What's your genre again, Alea? I don't know what Senzel Decorative looks like, or who. I wonder who provided it to her.
I know. I wonder too. Hang on one second. I'll be right. I have to. My cat is like getting into something, and I need to put him in a room or something so he doesn't knock something over and make a big loud noise.
Fantasy and paranormal. So it's interesting, like that you want a mature field for fantasy. I don't know what you mean by mature. Maybe mature means like serious to me, and fantasy and paranormal are like
fantasy and paranormal. You know what I've noticed with a lot of fantasy and paranormal that I've looked at is that I feel like, and I have not. That's a genre that I'm just starting to like look into and make these notices for. So I'm not like an expert on it, but I have noticed that they tend to go towards the decorative fonts, right? So like Tina Showalter, when we were looking at her and she had some sort of little decorative element in her header font, right? Like an extra line through something, or like something like that. And that seems very fantasy or paranormal to me. I can't get back to the chat here. Was she the one that was asking about what should I use for what should I use for a mature feel to complement a serif font? The one that was provided to me was I don't know what Senzel Decorative looks like, but the fact that it's a decorative font, I think reads well to me. So her audience is adult and new adult, and I think I've seen lots of like adult and new adult books that have decorative fonts, and it's still like, I think it's not about what, whether or not it's mature or not. I think the only time that comes into question is if you're writing for children, because you want to reach out to children. So yeah. Okay, so a thin sans serif gives like an elegant and classic appearance. Very straightforward. A single serif with a variety of weight options. So a single serif font palette often portrays a conservative and trustworthy feel. There are 3 basic requirements for brand fonts. Your fonts should be flexible. Do they look good on every format? So this is reiterating what I put above earlier on. But so a good way to test that whether or not your fonts are flexible is to try your fonts out on different templates on Canva, i.e. an Instagram post, a t-shirt design, and a flyer. And just make sure they all, look good across everything else. Most of them will. But sometimes you might run into a problem with that. Does it have multiple font weights? Like I said, choosing a font that has multiple weight options is always a good idea, as it gives you more options to play around with while still staying in your font palette. And is it legible? Note that header fonts don't need to be as legible as a body font, but you should still be able to glance at the header and know what it says. Here are, I'm going to go through these slowly so that people can screenshot when they're rewatching the replay if they want to, but just some instructions on how to navigate the font and text options on Canva. Okay, our assignment for today is to identify 3 to 4 author websites in your niche. We already have those, I hope. Identify the font types or types that you notice on the website. So serif or sans serif, handwritten, slab serif, decorative, and script. And then choose 2 to 3 fonts that fit the font styles you're seeing in your niche, a header and a body font at least. You might choose to have a subtitle font. You can test your fonts on a variety of templates on Canva. What I would do when you're testing them is, take your fonts and make them smaller, right? Like sometimes like on a business card, your font is going to be a lot smaller than if it was like on a flyer or something. And so you want to make sure that if your font is small, that it's still going to be readable. If you have Canva Pro, add your fonts to your brand kit because it makes it much easier. Because then they will show up in this area right here.
Marilyn wants to know if there's a way to, or a tool or something that will help them figure out the names of a font that they see online that they like.
Ooh. Let me look. I've never looked at that. Font. I don't
identifier tool.
Yeah. How do I? Oh, let's see. Identify fonts. Font squirrel maturator. Here. I'm putting a website in there. That looks like it might do what she's looking for. I love the name of it. Font squirrel maturator. Okay. There's some additional reading there about, if you just want to dive deeper into fonts and like different font meetings and like how to choose fonts and all of that stuff, there's some additional articles there that you can look at. Yeah, so that is our document today. I will definitely email that out. I don't know why it did not.
Katie said there were 2 emails for this call.
Oh yeah, I sent one out a little bit ago just for the live. So There was an email sent out this morning, though, with the link to the document.
So okay, we'll check it later to make sure that it.
I'll send it again tonight.
Or just make make sure that it was.
Yeah. Big name authors have the same font for their name. That's
the same font as what?
Big name authors in what niche? Like, are you only looking in your niche too? Because that could be part of your niche.
But like, what their same font is, like all big name authors have the same font for their name. Is that? I don't know what
yeah.
Or if you're saying that they all have the same font, like
no, Margie is saying that. Margie.
Yeah, I know. I'm just wondering what she means. Like the same name font for their name as what?
CJ Box. Let's see. Who's CJ Box? Oh, okay. I'm gonna screen share to see. I really hope she's not talking about the header font, because he has a different header. He's got a decorative font for his header font right here.
On his title or on his books, if that's what she means, he's got like a sans serif, but it's wide, like a.
Yeah, those are different fonts. They look they look similar, but they're different. Let me see. Yeah, and see, he's got like a typewriter font in it. There's different fonts here. Wonder what she's talking about.
She says, I worked in the library and I saw this even when switching publishers, Sanford, etc., on the books.
Oh, like the name? I don't know. I think that might be, though, like I would pay attention to whether or not that's a within their niche they have the same font. Because that's what we're talking about here, right? That they, people in a contemporary romance niche use similar fonts, to identify with their readers that they are a contemporary romance writer or contemporary romance book. Yeah. Okay, so so it depends on the niche, but definitely within niches, if they are branding successfully, they should look very similar to each other. I'm going to share screen so we can look at. Sorry, this is going to look weird for a minute. Okay, can you guys see that? Or on Christine Feehan's?
Yep.
Okay, so let's look at her fonts.
She uses no serif.
No, she uses sans serif, and it looks to me like, I feel like she uses she's that font combination that uses one font just in different weights, right?
Because I have to mute for just a second and take a phone call.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, guys. Real life. What did Marilyn said? She finally found the email from earlier. Oh my goodness. Hold on. I'm gonna stop sharing. That was a little crazy there. I finally found the email earlier. Came at 6:40 a.m. No wonder. Yeah, I had it. Sorry, just scheduled to come in at 9 o'clock Eastern.
What happened with your screen share?
Oh, I was just the way that I was screen sharing so that I can split back and forth between pages without having to stop the screen share and start it all over again. It just was also screen sharing our page right here. Yeah, good. I'm glad you got it, Marilyn. I have them scheduled to go out at 9 a.m. Eastern, so just do a search because they should be there. Okay, all right, I'm going back to our screen share. Okay. So I think that to me, this looks like all the same font because it looks very clean and consistent and like she's just using the same font but in different weights.
Mm-hmm.
Gina Showalter. But yeah, I feel like she is too. Like this font looks pretty similar to this one, except for it's not a.
Well, which one? The one of her name?
Yeah, it's not the same. Never
Yeah, because
mind.
that one of her name looks like a handwritten or a
A
script.
cursive. It's a script. Yeah. But like even her. So she's got that in a sans serif, and her sans
but
serif.
It's not very different. Like our Ninja Writer brand script is very different from our header, and hers is not super different.
No, it's still got the kind of girly feel to it, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, Cressley Cole. Cressley Cole has very decorative font here. Yeah. And then see, and she doesn't have, this is all she has. So let me see if I can click on this and it'll bring me into like where there's some more text. So she has a serif and a sans serif font, and then a decorative font here. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a completely different website than it took me to before. Interesting. So she is really going on that glowy thing. Like she made that glowy look a part of her branding. That's interesting. Yeah. And so she has lots of black, so that comes through. Okay, so she uses a serif and a sans serif and a decorative. Sherilyn Kenyon uses a serif and a sans serif. Okay. So this is interesting to me because I think we have some different. So Cressley Cole and Sherilyn McQueen are font-wise are pretty similar. Gina Showalter, I guess, and Christine Feehan. I think, with the exception of Gina Showalter's logo here, like it looks. No, she's using two different fonts, but they're both sans serif. We might need to look up another author because we're split. Let's see. You said J.D. Ward?
Oh yeah, J.R.
Okay. So, sans serif or serif. Serif. So a serif and a sans serif. Okay. Interesting. Okay, so it seems to me that like they use a lot of. Can you think of another author? Let's see if we can find one more.
Oh, geez. You're gonna make. I don't know. Just why don't I mean I don't know. I feel like on the spot and I can't think now. My brain just shut off. Maybe put like authors like Christine Feehan or something like that in there and see what comes up.
Okay.
Keep going. No, I don't know any of. This is making me feel like I need to read more widely.
So which of these, no, let's do this. Which of these authors did you feel like was the most closest to you?
Christine Feehan.
Okay, so let's go back to Amazon and look at, look there. So Christine Feehan. When should I look at the Just choose one.
The dark series, yeah.
Okay, so dark fantasy or paranormal.
Yeah. Not ghosts, yeah.
Okay, so let's see bestsellers in. See, none of those look like. Do those look like?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
It's a romance for sure.
Okay, so let's go back. Let's go look at romance. Books, romance. Paranormal, you said?
Yeah.
Why is it only giving me werewolf shifters and vampires?
I don't know.
Do these look though like similar? Like,
well, the cover of that first one has got the color palette of my cover, although
is it a shifter book that you're writing?
mm-mm.
No. Like what makes your book paranormal?
Well, would be more like gods.
Okay.
And angels ish.
Yeah, let's see. I'm gonna search paranormal romance bestseller list. Best sellers Amazon. See if it gives me that full. So maybe like angels.
Maybe.
This is so specific.
Well, I mean, it is, but they're being very specific in those genres, and I don't think that my book is like that different.
Is there another book that deals like with gods that?
I don't
know.
Scroll down. Let me see what's here. These are all indie authors, and I've not read any of them.
Okay.
It is interesting for me to note that all of the bestseller list practically is indie authors.
This lady, Jamin Eve, keeps popping up a lot. Like in these things. So let's see.
All right.
Dragon
what her website's like.
Okay. Do you think that like elemental like this like your books would fit in with like
Maybe.
the Okay.
It has an elemental.
Okay. Jamin Eve. So she's writing young adult fantasy and urban fantasy.
That's a young adult book? What in the world?
I don't think so. I think young adult and parent so this one says author or fantasy and paranormal romance. So maybe she shifted gears when she just didn't update her tagline on Google.
She has just like Christine Feehan, no sans serif.
Yeah. Okay, so you think out of all of these author websites that your stuff fit in more with Christine Feehan.
Mm-hmm.
And like,
I feel like I would want this lady's audience to know that I have a book.
Okay, that's what you're looking for. That's
Although, see, now that Royals of whatever, that doesn't.
Yeah, so let's say the Titan Saga. These are gods.
Yeah.
There's no book here though. Sorry, I think it's because my internet's being slow. Or it might not be out yet. Maybe it's let's see. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this looks like she's actually a pretty close thing, and she's doing really well in her field because there were some of those areas that she had like it was like dominating. Like it was like 5 books at the top, and they were all hers.
Mm-hmm.
So let's look at. I'm gonna move her over here. Yeah, she's pretty similar to Christine Feehan's, I think. Like very, very clean. And I think it feels clean because it has this, it all looks like the same font, just different weights. So let's see if we can find one more that's similar to that now that we found the right category. So paranormal, romance, bestsellers, Amazon.
Well, go to her book and see what her also bots are.
Okay.
Go to her God book again.
Yeah.
Right there. Although, this makes me a little worried because her cover is mine cover. Like, that's not a paranormal romance cover.
Okay. All
Twilight.
Like, yeah. So that does not look interesting. So these are showing me books that I might like. So that's not it.
Yeah.
That's not where I want to look. Here, right?
No, those are sponsored. This, you need to go to one of her other books. This one doesn't look like it's out yet.
Children's fantasy. That doesn't look like children's fantasy. Maybe. I don't know.
That one looks like it could be YA. Or
let's see if she had another one on here that was not like similar but not YA.
Well, go up. Can you go back up then? Because the one with the man on the cover in the first
This one
there, that one looks, the cover looks more like my cover.
Okay.
Even though it's got shifters, but I guess that probably doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So go see what her also bots are for this one. Why doesn't she have also bots? That's really weird.
I don't know. But paranormal and urban fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look there.
Bye, Margie.
I keep seeing this Lindsay Hall a lot too.
Mm-hmm. But that doesn't look like.
Yeah, a little. That's a little too different.
Keep going down. Get past all the Harry Potters.
What about this KF Breen? I've seen her a lot pop up in these.
Maybe, but that cover also doesn't look like a paranormal romance to me.
I'm gonna go back up.
Go back down. That vampire one has the right kind of cover.
Bella Klaus.
Mm-hmm.
So doesn't have any like about author area. Her book is doing really well though.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's.
Does it want to have also bots? It's very weird to me that your Amazon doesn't give you also bots. I wonder if you turned it off somehow.
I have no clue.
Well, this is a paranormal romance cover. So let's look at her.
Okay. See if she's got a website. She might not have one.
Well, that sucks.
I know. Let's see.
You might go to vampires. I mean, they're not vampires, but maybe at least it will be paranormal.
Yeah. Well, this isn't science fiction and fantasy. That's why we're not getting any romance. Let's go back to that list.
Look, go back to go to vampires. Let's see what's there. What about that first one?
Kira Blackwood. It's a set of short stories. I'm doing very well. I don't know. What do you think? No.
Not if she's writing short stories.
What about this Dark Stranger? No.
Yeah, I see him everywhere.
Okay.
Or her, whatever. That man.
The Children of the Gods. That's perfect.
Yeah, that might be.
Okay. Let's go down and look at the. Oh, goodness. Lots of information. Mashup fiction. She's tagged as, or they're tagged as paranormal angel romance.
Mm-hmm.
You should remember that because having a hard time figuring out what exactly it is. Children of the Gods. Let's see. Okay. Okay.
Sans serif.
Yeah, the sans serif. This font is sans serif with a decorative element.
Mm-hmm.
That's a sans serif. This is a serif right here, but mostly sans serif.
Very dark.
Very dark. Okay. There she has a bio. Okay, come on. Okay, I think that we've seen, like, we have enough here. I think this a sans serif, like one font with different weights, seems like
And maybe a decorative element. There's a couple of them
somewhere, yeah. So maybe like your
I could have a decorative T for text.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so let's open your Canva. So let's open your logo design here. Okay. I'm gonna delete that so we don't keep getting distracted there. Okay, so what we want to look for, I think maybe we can have, yeah, we want, I think we want
a sans serif and a decorative.
Yeah.
Why are you giving 3?
Because you'll see. Hold on. Because you're using 2 different sans serifs. They're not 2 different sans serifs, but it's like if I go to Montserrat, like it's, one is Montserrat. You're still going to choose 2 of these that are going to be your main choices. Okay, so there's what you can do on Canva is go over here and search for sans serif, and you just look through. Some of these, what we want to stay away from are ones that are too bold, I think. Well, maybe not though, because I think Christine Feehan has a bolder one and a not bold one. But Jamin Eve does not. I don't think that IT Lucas really does either.
She has a little bit of sans serif, or of serif though, right?
Tiny. It was like the littlest bit, but I don't think it's like, I don't know if I would count that as part of her palette, because everywhere else, I only saw it in one little tiny spot on her website.
Okay, so sans serif. That's interesting.
Yeah. So if any of these are, I think we want one that is bolder and one that's not so bold, but I think that like we don't want bold like this. Like this looks a little kiddish to me. I think maybe like
I can't see them.
You can't see them?
Not very well.
Let's see if I can make my screen bigger.
There, that's better.
Okay. So these Nords have lots of choices in them.
They're boring. I like that grandeur more.
This one? Okay.
There's a bunch of those.
There is a lot of them.
I like that B612.
Okay.
But that's only one.
Yeah, that's not a good one.
Open sauce. Nah, it's boring. Keep going. I'm looking.
There's lots of this a Grandier one.
Mm-hmm. That
Do
one's
you
okay.
like the wider or the tighter ones? I kind of like.
I don't know.
Let's see. These are tighter, not really super wide, but that's
pretty
wider.
wide. Even the words underneath are.
That's wider too. Oh no, it's just normal. Barlow.
These are like not in alphabetical order. That's very weird.
I know.
Just keep going. Let me look at all of them real quick. How very weird that it's like. I like that intro pro one that you just passed. But there's only the one, so just keep going. So far, I like that one that I said I liked the best, but now I don't remember what it was called.
The Grandier.
No, that's one you said you liked.
Oh,
the one before Grandier. I feel like it wasn't. How are you supposed to find anything when it's not alphabetical? No, you liked a Grandier. That's not the. Is that the one I liked?
I think it was.
Oh, maybe it was. Yeah, because I liked the B612.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. I thought it started with an M.
Oh, Montserrat?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Not this one?
Mm-mm. That wasn't it.
Ooh, I have to go back to.
It was that towards the beginning though, because you were scrolling, and then I said, "Oh, I like that one. It's all right."
Is it Nord?
No. Keep going down. Let me see if I see it. See, these are like in a different order. That's so weird. Was it Barlow? No, that was boring. There was a bunch of them.
Mm-hmm.
It could have been a Grandier.
I think it was a Grandier. That's what I remember.
Because you said that one. Keep going. Is there more? Or is that it?
No, there's more.
What was the one that I saw? Shoot. Should have written it down. Can you go back up? Let me see Squad. Kind of like Squad.
Yeah, I kind of do too, because I feel like they have this kind of like it's not too well, at least these two anyways are not too like I don't know what the word that I'm looking for is, but like not too stiff. I think that one's good. Okay, let's do Squad. Let's see if they have more. I'm gonna search Squad. We do, okay. So Squad Bold. And Squad.
But you wrote it in Montserrat.
No, it's in Squad. Oh. Nope, that's right. Okay. Okay, so
No,
I don't know that I would count this as a decorative element. I feel like that L is like just something she added into her logo. Like, I don't know if it counts as part of her brand board. Like, I feel like I would stick with. Well, I don't know. Go back to her bio again. Ouch. God, my computer is loading so slow. No, I guess she does have more of a little bit of a decorative edge to.
It's very interesting to me that paranormal authors have pretty boring.
I know. Well, I think it's because there's so much on their covers. Like
yeah, they're trying not to compete with their cover.
Yeah, it would be competing, and so they need it to be highlighting.
Yeah.
I would just stick with the one. I feel like this is the only one that I've seen that we've looked at that has different, and I feel like her website is not all that impressive. That I would probably want, like, I think you would maybe want to fit in more with these two people.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's was there a third squad thin, but let's see. Ooh, that is hard to read. So that's not a good one then. So you could just have two. I think you could just have the two.
Oh.
I think Christine Feehan and Jamin just have two. Like, I don't see a third iteration of the same font. Well, maybe no, that just looks like this, but bigger. But that thin one is too hard to read. And when it's bolded, it just looks like the other one. Okay. So you just have two. Which seems
that's very boring.
Well, that is what fits into your brand. So it's not about whether or not you think it's boring. They like a very clean look. Okay, so now we have your colors and your brand board or your fonts. And
when are we going to do the mood part, or we're not going to?
So usually I feel like I do the mood part when I'm making like the logo.
Okay.
But it depends, I think, on yeah, I don't know. Like for this one, I think for in the mood board, I would work in some glowy images there to make sure that like, oops, oh, what did I do? To make sure that your like these choices here are not like upstaging glowier images, right? Because that's what they need. So your mood board, I think, would have that's what I would put down here. Okay. Well, we have some lingerers. Let's see. Susan had to leave.
Anybody have any questions?
Teresa, did you sign? Teresa, make sure that you signed up for the author branding challenge. There's a link in the bio a link in the description of the video, and you will get the files that way. You can also email me if you're not sure, and I can let you know. I think that's it.
All right, guys. Unless anyone has questions, going once, going twice. All right, everyone have a fantastic evening. And we will see you tomorrow.
If
you're interested at 10 a.m. Eastern, we have a 10-minute writing sprint, and then we'll be here again for the last call in this series at 5 p.m. tomorrow Eastern.
And it'll be much more interesting than looking at fonts, I promise. We'll get to design a logo. That's much more
Designing logos tomorrow.
All right. Tomorrow's topic is logos, Marilyn.
Logo design, Marilyn.
All right.
And then you will design a logo, or you'll be able to design a logo and then come on Thursday where you can actually come to Zoom and interact better and share so that we can see your logo and you can show it off to us.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Bye-bye.
Bye.